Now, we have covered dozens of different Dragon Ball What If topics on the channel before, many of which were brought to my attention either as a fan request or as a general interest I had in talking about a concept I found to be interesting, and now we find ourselves with yet another crossover involving 3 gifted Saiyan warriors and a deranged psychopath who's inhabiting a Saiyan's body with all the potential in the world to wipe out all life within the existing universe. Now for this, we are going to be breaking this concept and discussion up into 2 separate parts, one of which being part 1 of the Universe 6 and Goku Black special, to where there we covered the premise of what it would be like for Goku Black to travel within Universe 6 prior to the Tournament of Power having to go down involving Kale, Kaba, and Kefla, which we have covered on yesterday's video in the part 1 special, and now having to focus on part 2 to where Goku Black ends up traveling within the Universe 6 timeline after the Tournament of Power, but before the initial events of Dragon Ball Super Broly and the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, which again, before we dive any further, if you are new to this channel and love anime and Dragon Ball, then be sure to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button to sub to the channel and ring the bell icon to never miss a single one of our videos that we upload daily onto the channel, to which you guys can also find all the latest and best Dragon Ball What If concepts and stories located down in the description box below, to where there you will be able to find the official Dragon Ball What If playlist for all the latest interesting and best Dragon Ball What Ifs, so be sure to go on ahead and check that out down below. Now, we initially kick things off with the idea of Goku Black traveling through space-time following his final encounter against Goku and Vegeta after tearing a hole through the future timeline and winding up on planet Sadala in Universe 6 following the events of the Tournament of Power. And here there are a few things to consider. Number 1, Goku Black has grown exponentially powerful since battling Goku and Vegeta in the future and continues to do so without an end in sight. And number 2, Kaba, Kale, and Kefla have all achieved new levels of power during the Tournament of Power, raising their awareness and strength to new heights that even rival the strongest in the multiverse. 2 in which one of the many concepts that needs to be remembered here about Goku Black is that he is constantly learning and constantly evolving in order to match his competitor. And in a death fight against the Universe 6 Saiyans, it would understandably be a no-brainer for Goku Black to fight and kill Kaba, Super Saiyan 1 or 2, as it really wouldn't make a difference in this fight, especially against Kaba first, as he would probably be the first one to be targeted and taken down by Goku Black. But this then leaves Kale and Kefla, who were shown to have a great connection when battling against the common enemy together and synchronizing their attacks, to which here we will use Goku as an example. Unless Goku Black immediately is fighting with the intention to kill from the start, then there is probably no chance of Goku Black surviving this fight by the end, especially if Kale uses her Berserker power in comparison to her controlled state as we've seen prior to Kale fusing with Kefla. Controlled Kale, however, is a different story, as she is no longer driven by rage and her will to destroy, but maintaining this energy instead. This might be something that could favor Kale in the long run, as out of the 3, Goku Black would probably have the most difficulty in taking down Kale, as we've established on the previous video, but however having the most fun with Kefla. Now, why Kefla? Because she, just as Goku Black, is obsessed with growth just as much as Black's infatuated with constantly getting stronger. With Kefla being driven by her ego to be the best, and Goku Black being driven by the will to always evolve and become stronger, Black would most definitely enjoy watching Kefla get stronger, as it would strangely enough also favor him in battle as well. Goku Black's approach would be no different than his initial approach against Goku and Vegeta. Fierce and brutal, tactical and cunning, and there is no doubt that Goku Black would without question be more interested in the females, but only to an extent before finally getting bored of them and killing them off for the finish. And unless the girls can conjure enough power together to destroy Goku Black as a singular unit before allowing him to get even stronger, then they themselves are basically goners. This would also go as far as to allow them both to fuse into Kefla, just in case things go from bad to extremely worse, and there is no doubt that Goku Black would do everything he could to destroy the people of planet Sadala. However, the trio would also do everything in their ability to make sure that that doesn't happen. And through this, if Goku Black were to be able to defeat them, would it mean resorting to the next best option, and that would be fusion. Now, despite how the situation goes, there is no conceivable way that Goku Black would survive this one. The only tactical move he would have to save him would be to use instant transmission to leave the battlefield, but outside of that, there would be barely anything he would do to save him from the inevitable beatdown Kefla would give him. In fact, Kefla's one weakness would be her curiosity on seeing her opponent grow stronger while she tries to match that. So against Goku Black, I can see Kefla going as far as to see what he can do, and objectively, that would be the worst outcome for her if she were to allow Goku Black to continuously grow in power, as it goes without question that Goku Black wouldn't have a difficult time in torturing and hurting Kaba and Caulifla to further his twisted satisfaction in ruling the universe and remolding it in his image. But again, against Kale, that might be a different story, as I do believe by and large, if Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black were to target each individual Saiyan one by one, then by no means would this be a no-brainer for him. But against a synchronized Caulifla and Kale, against a synchronized Kaba, Kale, and Caulifla, whether that be 2-on-1 or 3-on-1, Goku Black, I think, does not stand a chance. However, I am not alone in this conversation, as joining me here right now to discuss the concept of Goku Black within Universe 6 is my good friend Super Saiyan Paul. And Paul, right from the start, I wanted to ask you, in a handicap battle 3-on-1, or we can look at Goku Black picking them off individually, in this scenario, do you think that Goku Black would have the necessary skill set and power to defeat Kale, Kaba, and Caulifla within Universe 6, or do you think that the Saiyans would have overwhelming amount of potential and power that would ultimately trump Goku Black in battle?
For Goku Black, after the fact that he had Super Saiyan Rose against Caulifla and Kale, at the point of where Kale has mastered her Berserker form in a sense, or actually overcome the raw power of the Berserker and is actually able to control it, I believe that the favor actually lies with Goku Black in his Rose form. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that Caulifla and Kale can't fuse and absolutely decimate him. I feel as though if they fuse, they would be able to destroy Rose, but individually, I think Goku Black in that form would be able to best both of them in like combat. I think he'd be stronger than Caulifla, and even if she adapts to him, I think at that point in time, he would just be so overpowered and his adaptability would be on the same level in a sense that he would be able to best Caulifla. In terms of him beating Kale and her being under complete control of herself instead of being a berserker, I think she may be getting bested as well. If it's a 1v1 situation, if it's both of them at the same time, I think that they'd be able to overpower him. However, I think that if it's just controlled Super Saiyan Kale, I still believe that Goku Black Rose would still be able to take her out. The only endgame scenario where the two of them would be able to best him is if they fuse, and that would be like an immense amount of power that Goku Black would not be able to adapt to in time, and that he'd be able to be taken out right then and there.
And speaking of being taken down right then and there, who among the three do you think would be very noteworthy of seeing fight against Goku Black, either 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, or perhaps even if you think that all three of them collectively could put a dent in Goku Black, as I do think that Kaba would fare the worst. I don't think that Kaba would have it within him to not only defeat Goku Black, but to go as far as to kill him. But I will give Kaba credit. Among Planet Sadala, I think he would risk his own life to defend that planet and its people, without question. When compared to Caulifla and Kale, I think that Kaba would definitely lay his life down to protect his people and his planet. However, when looking at both Kale and Caulifla in this equation, where do you see those two being factored in terms of giving Goku Black the fight that he's been looking for?
I see Caulifla and Kale being the main ones to do that. I don't necessarily see Kaba as a real factor in this fight. I think more than anything, he's going to be fodder. More so for maybe Caulifla, if anything, her seeing him get beat up because he technically is their mentor. Kale, not so much. I think Kale has more of an attachment to Caulifla, and if he goes in order, if he starts beating up Kaba, and that pushes Caulifla, and then Caulifla gets more powerful, and then he beats up Caulifla, and then Kale sees that, it'll cause her to get a power buff. I think it'll go in that type of order, but at the same time, I don't necessarily see Kaba being a real game changer here. I think it would mainly be Kefla and Kale being the ones to like be able to knock him into like other states or push him to go further beyond and vice versa.
Now, I do want to go ahead and point out that Goku Black's ruthlessness and his tenacity to pursue someone and hunting them down, almost like a predator, almost like as if he is the alpha male among the jungle, stalking and putting his enemies down, as we've seen many times before. Goku Black arguably could have put down Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks if he chose to do so, but instead, we understood that he wanted to get stronger, he wanted to increase in power. But when it comes to the females, when it comes to Kale and Caulifla, do you think that it would be possible for him to kill off the other, while the other would see that and gain a significant increase in power by using the pain of loss? For example, if Kale were to somehow be annihilated, do you see Caulifla jumping in power and possibly discovering Super Saiyan 3 or something beyond that just to aid her, and vice versa? Because I don't think Kaba would be considerable in this fight, but when looking at the females, how do you think they would fare up against Goku Black if he were to kill somebody?
I don't think that Goku Black would actually fare away from killing Kale. I think that would definitely push Caulifla to go Super Saiyan 3 because we did see that name dropped in the actual series. But would Super Saiyan 3 Caulifla actually be enough? I don't actually think it would be. I think that Goku Black would be able to overpower that, and the only other outcome is that if they actually push her into like Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. I mean, that's what she was aiming for at the very end, and who knows what type of devastation she might go through seeing Kale being defeated, if that would be enough to push her into that type of energy level, or even Super Saiyan Rage, if anything, kind of similar to Trunks. If she was able to ascend to that because of what she just witnessed with Kale dying, I think that she would be able to beat Goku Black.
Now, you did go as far as to mention the concept of fusion, and fusion would be a considerable factor in this equation, because if Kale and Caulifla understand that they don't possess the ability or power to defeat someone like Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, I think it would only be in their nature to then use the Potara earrings infusing together to stop him. But the question is, if we did manage to have, in some way, shape, or form, any version of Kefla ranging from base to Super Saiyan 2 against a full-powered Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, how do you think that fight would be dictated to where it would better suit Kefla in this fight to take him out right then and there, versus someone like Goku Black, who always seems to be adapting and really doesn't have a timer behind his power, unlike Kefla? So in a scenario like this, if we had a chance to see Kefla versus Goku Black, in your opinion, how do you see this fight being dictated, and who do you think would have the advantage going into this fight?
Kefla has a bit of Gotenks in her, in a sense. Her mentality is that she wants to keep pushing herself, and it's kind of childish, where she probably might toy with him because of how powerful she is as he adapts and he may be getting close to them. And I do see her besting him and actually trying to finish him off, because that's what she tried to do to Goku. However, Goku did have plot armor in some way, shape, or form against her, but if they were to fight him, I think that they would be able to overpower him at the very end, but she would be interested in toying with him to see how far he can push himself. I just don't think he'd be able to do it in that exact instance, because in most of the scenarios, he always had to retreat in order to get that power buff, and I don't think I see them actually disbanding the fight right then and there. I think she would finish it off and end it as soon as possible, as soon as she realizes that.
But with Kefla having to have the advantage, what about the intelligence factor? What about the idea of techniques and abilities that can throw your opponent off balance when it doesn't necessarily have to only rely on strength? Just because Kefla is stronger doesn't imply that she has the ability to put down Goku Black, to which I do think she does. But with Goku Black possessing such techniques and abilities, I don't think it would be as easy for her as many would point it out to be, unless of course she's at her max and she really brings the fight to Goku Black. Only then could I see Goku Black really getting desperate enough to try something stupid as to per se either blow up the planet or escape, or as a different means of him getting the victory over Kefla, because I don't see Kefla losing to Goku Black unless she is willing to let him grow in power. But when it comes to the intelligence factor, when it comes to the skill factor, when it comes to the power factor, how would you sort out these individuals by those standards? And when looking at who would have the overall advantage between the two, who would you say would have more of a chance in walking away as opposed to the other?
In just terms of raw power, Kefla does have the upper hand. In terms of intelligence, Goku Black does have the upper hand there, but I don't think there's much he can do on his own. I think most of his intelligence and where it kicked in the most was when he was paired up with Zamasu in his immortal state. I feel as though because there was two of him, he was able to bring out really cool tactics and all of these other battle plans really well and execute them to perfection. However, if it's just him by himself, we noticed in that very first encounter with Goku that it wasn't necessarily the most headstrong thing to really go ahead and fight him. And if it was anybody besides Goku, I think they would have killed him. I think if they realized this was a threat, according to Trunks, kill him right there on the spot. And I don't necessarily see Kefla making the same mistake with her having that much power. I see her actually obliterating him with, after seeing how fast he's adapting, as type of an ego thing where they'd be like, oh, look how powerful we are. We actually managed to kill him. Nobody can stop us.
I think it goes without question that if we did have Kefla versus Goku Black, the first thing that Kefla would need to do would be for her to see to it that Goku Black does not adapt to her power, and by that, finishing the fight off quickly enough would be the best course of action for her to take, unless she would like to see what Goku Black is able to do by adapting and growing his power that much more. But then we have ourselves the exact same similar scenario go down when Goku Black initially fought Vegeta and he created the massive scythe from his hand and ripping a hole in space-time to where he didn't even know what he did himself, but he was amazed that he did so anyway. So I think that for Kefla, to avoid anything happening to planet Sadala, to avoid any cataclysm within Universe 6 itself by having this person increase in his own power, I think that Kefla would need to put him down. Now, whether or not you want to make the assessment and saying that all she would need is Super Saiyan to stop Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, I would have to say that she would need to use Super Saiyan 2 at her max. She would have to be at her peak in order to put someone like this down, because again, let's not forget Goku Black's hacks and his ability to use instant transmission, the after image technique, possibly Kaioken, and many other interesting things that could give him the edge in this battle. But in the end, I would like to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. If Goku Black traveled in Universe 6 after his initial battle against Goku and Vegeta, how would he fare off against Kaba, Kale, and Caulifla after the Tournament of Power, but before the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly? Would Goku Black be able to hang in there against the likes of the Universe 6 Saiyans, or would he ultimately be annihilated by the end of the fight? I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, if you guys have not checked out or just so happen to have missed out on part 1 of this special, then be sure to go on ahead and check that video out on the channel or down in the description box below. Smash that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel and of course have a love and passion for all things anime and Dragon Ball related. Turn on all notifications and slap a big fat like down below, as well as checking out and subscribing to my secondary and third channels listed down below at Unreal Royale, Unreal Network, and Unreal Vlogs. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, tune back in for more awesome Dragon Ball content, and I'll see you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up? On, put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!